Fertilization. This topic is taken from the chapter of sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. So first of all, we should understand what is fertilization. Fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes. So in double fertilization, here two kinds of fusion takes place. One is syngamy and another one is triple fusion. These are the two kinds of fusion. So these together are known as double fertilization. Syngamy and triple fusion, these processes are known as double fertilization. Very simple. When the pollen grains fall on the stigma, the pollen tube enters one of the synergids and releases two male gametes. So as we all know that at the micropylar end we have egg apparatus. In the egg apparatus we have two synergids and one egg cell. When these pollen grains basically fall on the stigma, then what happens? Then the pollen tube enters one of the synergids. We know that there are two synergids. It enters only one of the synergids and there it releases two male gametes. There two male gametes are released. Then one of the male gametes move towards the egg cell and fuses with it to complete the syngamy to form the zygote. So as we all know that it reaches the synergids and releases the two male gamete. One of the male gamete, what happens? One of the male gamete, it move towards the egg cell. It basically move towards the egg cell and basically completes the process of syngamy. It completes the process syngamy. Here, syngamy is the reproductive process in the fusion of two gametes takes place. This basically lead to the formation of zygote. Very simple process. Then what happens? The other male gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei and forms triploid primary endosperm nucleus (PEN). This is termed as triple fusion. As we all know that two male gametes are released. One male gamete moves towards the egg cell and completes the process syngamy to basically form the zygote. Whereas another male gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei. As we all know that there are two polar nuclei. We have 8 nuclei. Among 8 nuclei, there are two polar nuclei which are situated below the egg apparatus in the large central cell. So basically, this gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei and basically forms the triploid primary endosperm nucleus, which is known as PEN, primary endosperm nucleus. This process is also known as triple fusion. Very simple. One zygote is formed and another triple fusion process takes place. Two kinds of fusion, syngamy and triple fusion, takes place. This process is known as double fertilization and is characteristic of flowering plants. As we all know that there are two male gametes are produced. One of the male gamete move towards the egg cell and fuses with it to complete the syngamy, and syngamy leads to the formation of zygote. Whereas another male gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei and forms the triple fusion. This triple fusion is also known as primary endosperm nucleus, which is PEN. So these two kinds of processes takes place. This process is known as double fertilization. Very simple. Then after triple fusion, the central cell becomes the primary endosperm cell. So primary endosperm nucleus is known as triple fusion. Triple fusion, what happens? The central cell becomes the primary endosperm cell. Now it is turned into primary endosperm cell. The primary endosperm nucleus give rise to the endosperm while the zygote develops into embryo. As we all know that triple fusion is also known as primary endosperm nucleus. Primary endosperm nucleus give rise to the endosperm is developed now, whereas zygote is developed in the syngamy. This develops into the embryo formation takes place. So these are the synergids. Here what happens when the pollen grains fall on the stigma? The pollen tube enters this one of the synergids, and there what happens? Two male gametes are released. Then this is the zygote. This part is known as zygote. Okay. And then this is the primary endosperm cell. What is primary endosperm cell? This central cell becomes the primary endosperm cell. Then this is primary endosperm nucleus, PEN, which is also known as triple fusion part. This is degenerating antipodal cells. These are the antipodal cells. This is a very simple process and you can understand it very easily.